Hey, hello, hello, they know, hello, hello, they know, hello, hello, they know, hello, hello, they know. Gotta love that though, Loshow, can't say no so, baby.
Get into that political business. Obama, now, he had a speech the other day, and he was talking about middle class getting ahead. Now, President Obama lays out a better bargain for the middle class, so everyone that works hard is going to get ahead. His focus is to grow the economy from middle class out, not top down. Now, that includes job security, good wages, durable industries, good education, affordable health. All this is needed to grow, rebuild this economy. Now, he's saying it's going to take some time, but his focus for the remainder of his presidency is to get this handled, make sure the middle class is on point. Now, last week, George Zimmerman, he was on trial, and a lot of people were disturbed and they reacted a certain way. I mean, he had the opportunity of getting a manslaughter charge, and they found him not guilty. The state of Florida found George Zimmerman not guilty and escaped second-degree murder for the shooting of 17-year-old Trayvon Martin. Now, this unarmed teenager was killed in a tussle between the defendant when he was walking home. Now, George Zimmerman is a white Hispanic. Now, they tussled and they fought. George Zimmerman followed Trayvon through the neighborhood after the police told him on the phone, "Do not follow him. Stop. You are not needed to do that." But then, he didn't listen. And the two fought, and the self-defense, it's wild how these laws just, you know what I mean? So basically, him and Trayvon, they were fighting in the alley, and Trayvon was getting the best of him, as you've seen from the pictures of the bloody noses and everything. And he felt that he needed to pull the trigger and shoot this young kid because he had the best of him. And according to the Florida law, it's okay to use force to fight back if you feel your life is being threatened. Wow. So, hundreds of people been protesting across the country, demonstrating their feelings and verdicts about the verdict. Now, I want you guys to call me up, 301-392-SHOW. Also, President Obama even, said something about Trayvon Martin. I'm going to pull that video footage up for you.
Trayvon Martin could have been me 35 years ago. And when you think about why, in the African-American community at least, there's a lot of pain around what happened here, I think it's important to recognize that the African-American community is looking at this issue through a set of experiences and a history.
Rodney King,
that
L.A., D.C. riots.
it doesn't go away. There are very few African-American men in this country who haven't had the experience of being followed when they were shopping in a department store. That includes me. There are very few African-American men who haven't had the experience of walking across the street and hearing the locks click on the doors of cars. That happens to me, at least before I was a senator. I think it's going to be important for all of us to do some soul searching. As difficult and challenging as this whole episode has been for a lot of people, I don't want us to lose sight that things are getting better. Each successive generation seems to be making progress in changing attitudes when it comes to race. Doesn't mean we're in a post-racial society. It doesn't mean that racism is eliminated. But you know, when I talk to Malia and Sasha, and I listen to their friends and I see them interact, they're better than we are. They're better than we were on these issues.
Yeah, so that was the president speaking on that behalf, and that it could have went another way. You know, it could have been another riot, another disaster could have happened off of that, but everyone was cool. Moving on, speaking of cool, the Pope Francis. Now, he traveled to Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, for World Youth Day. Now, he's out there to speak out, deliver a message, and his message is to clean up this culture of corruption. It's a lot going on. Now, the meaning of life and happiness are found in a relationship with God. Love thy neighbor, especially the needy. That's what he's trying to kick out. Now, the pursuit of power and wealth for selfishness is going to end up to, chaos, frustration. Now, he's trying to promote better justice and better education for young people, hoping that they'll have a better chance in the future. Now, he's also speaking about the drug cartels, the drug trafficking that's going on in Latin America. He's saying that these drug lords are merchants of death. That's what he's calling them. Now, he's saying that they follow the money and power at any cost, so that means death, killing people, selling drugs, all that stuff. Meanwhile, at night, while the Pope is out there talking and making his run, shaking hands, blessing people, a lot of riots has been going on. Demonstrators have been clashing out against the police, throwing tear gas, that stuff has been going on because they feel that Brazil used up a lot of unnecessary money to bring out the Pope. Let me see if we got some video footage on how their response and how they're reacting right now. Now they're upset because they raised up, transportation costs. They're raising up a lot of taxes and money in Brazil. And they're upset because, the World Cup is coming out there, the Olympics is going to be out there, and they're just, they feel like they're getting double charged for no reason. But really, it might help them out. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And it's just a bunch of people out there just throwing cocktail bottles. They got tanks. Yeah, it's crazy. That's the countries. Yep. Moving on. The Rolling Stone magazine pissed off a lot of people. A lot of advertisers, a lot of distributors. Many people thought that this month's cover felt like it was unnecessary, that it glorified this young man, this Boston Marathon bomber, and they didn't like it. So a lot of newsstands, grocery stores, they did not display or sell the magazine. Some people called it un-American and poor taste by the Rolling Stone magazine, but they thought it was just good journalism. Articles talk about, the student coming up, him and his brother growing up in the family and just became a monster, how his life just changed. Now, I'm pretty sure this magazine did this on purpose for publicity to get the numbers up because apparently, it hasn't been doing too well, but now they're hoping that after this it's going to pick up sales. We'll see. Speaking of picking up, former Congressman Anthony Weiner, you know this guy. This guy posting pictures. He out there talking dirty. Had another sexual, I guess you call encounter, maybe. Pause. The exchange of explicit photos and fraternizing with sex acts over the phone are pressuring him to drop out of New York City mayor candidate race. Now, Weiner has apologized for his behavior, and his wife stood by his side, saying that she loves him, she forgives him, and that they're moving on. Now, there was no money exchanged in the sexual favors, just emails and phone talk under the alias Carlos Danger. This guy. And he wants to be the mayor. He was a congressman. Now he wants to be the mayor of New York City. I don't know, people. Now, another fatal accident happened a couple of days ago at Six Flags in Texas. Now, this tragic accident happened to a woman in Arlington, Texas at Six Flags. She was on this big roller coaster called Texas Giant. Now, this 14-story high roller coaster took this woman's life. She fell off the ride. Police say they can't find no evidence of foul play or criminal intent. Fortunately, she didn't make it. That's a drop right there. 14 stories, and she just fell. Woo! Wow. That joint, man. This other lady, she was a little bit more fortunate. Out here in Maryland, on the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, it was a big collision that happened between a tractor trailer and a vehicle that sent this young woman and her car over the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, 40 feet into the water. Apparently, the tractor trailer hit the car, and in this collision, this crash, he struck this lady's car, and she tipped over the wall, over the bridge, and fell into the water. Luckily, she was like towards the end, towards the toll, and it wasn't that. I mean, regardless, you falling in the ocean. I mean, you fall in the bay. My bad, and in your car. Now it's liable. You're sinking. You know what I mean. So she reacted very quickly, and she made it out there. She swam up to the rocks and climbed out, and they saying that she's okay. She has non-life-threatening issues, so she's good. She's good. Speaking of good, Prince William and Kate Middleton have finally come up with a name for their son. Now, it took him a little bit to think of a name. I guess Grandma had to bless him and, give him the name. But his name is George Alexander Louis. Prince George of Cambridge. That's what they call him. Prince George. So welcome to the world, young fella. And it's going to be some royalty duties you're going to have to accomplish. So, you'll be good.
Hey, hello, they know, hello, hello, they know, hello, they know, hello, they know. Gotta love that though, Loshow, can't say no so, baby.